Hey, guitar time. How are you guys tonight? How are you tonight, I should say. There's no you guys, right? It's just you and this guitar and this website. Let me go post our link over on the website. Website is denverguitarorchestra.com. You probably knew that already or you wouldn't be here. And I'm going to put the link to tonight's activity on the front page. Tonight we'll be playing Frère Jacques, Farmer in the Dell, This Old Man, sounded Tom Dooley, pretty rough beginning, and then we will be playing Jeanie with the light brown hair and Kumbaya. And in the classical group, we've got 6 songs we're going to try to get through tonight, all of them updated and prettied up and ready to play. So hopefully we'll have a little heavy on the classical tonight, a little light on the junk, and we'll see what we can get done. Everything I call it junk just because some of the songs are kind of like bleh, but it's not that they're not important. All of the I don't have any song on the books 1, 2, or 3 that doesn't create a very learnable opportunity. So let me put this over here. Denver Guitar Orchestra.com. Okay, there's that. Put the logo on there, and we'll be ready to roll. Open and tweet. Yeah, a lot of times when we're working on these songs, the problem is that nobody really wants to play This Old Man or Tom Dooley or Farmer in the Dell, and nobody really wants to play those. But the skill set that you're going to need to play the songs you do want to play are all right there, cleaned up in this little box for you to just get good at. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, okay, I guess it was okay that I learned that. I need a tuner. I am borrowing Elizabeth's guitar. It's a 7/8 size guitar, and I asked her if I could borrow it because I feel like for me a 3/4 size is just a little too small, but a full size one is a little too big, and so she loaned me this when I've been playing it the last week or so. And honestly, I have to say I really love the tone of it. But I don't really think that this fretboard is all that much smaller to make a meaningful difference in how I play it, so I'm probably going to stick with the full-size guitar. But one of the things I notice is when this particular shape, index, middle, and pinky, and the 4-fret pattern, I'm really focused in on my life of trying to keep my pinky rounded. And I find it almost as difficult. There is a little small difference here, but not a ton. Not enough to buy a new guitar kind of thing. That's one of the things I always think about is, well, do you like it enough to actually pay for it? And usually the answer is, no, I'll stick with what I got. All right, let's see. It's 6 o'clock, 6:02. Sandy is here. Sandy's playing on her new Cordoba that she got. Vic, I don't even think I know what kind of guitar you have. And Linda is here. I don't know what kind of guitar you have either. Good to have the 3 of you here. 3 most important people in my life, outside of Donna and Henry, who's a cat. Does that count? Let's get this going. So tonight we're going to look at Frère Jacques. This is the song we were playing. If you're book 1, this is the song that I asked you to play this week. Main thing we're looking at is, can you do your A chord? Can you put that on? You got it committed to memory. Okay. Let's do it two ways. I'd like to do the first time through with take 4 fingers, put your thumb on the 5th string, above the 5th string, and then your other index, middle, and ring, let's put those underneath string 3, string 2, and string 1. So you get that sound. Okay, and then we'll just collapse them. Try not to have your arm come way out, right? Just plump, 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 like that. Okay, get a little bit of a bounce in your step. 1, 2, ready, go. Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matines, ding, ding, dong, ding, ding, dong. And I usually don't put in the 4th beat on the last one, I just let it ring out. Now take those same exact things, same exact string, same exact fingers, but this time do thumb, index, middle, ring. 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 Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. Morning bells are ringing, morning bells are ringing. Ding, dang, dong, ding, dang, dong. And then there's a beautiful sounding guitar. Thank you, Elizabeth, who will be probably watching this video at some point, for letting me borrow it. Next, so the two chords, those of you guys that are starting book one, A chord is coming up every single time you play guitar. It's cramming those fingers into there. The three of you know from ukulele, but for the rest of the world, this can be kind of a challenging little hold. The other chord we worked on is E chord. You really want to commit those to memory, okay? Because when we learn the next chord, you're going to have a really nice complement of the three sort of most important chords on guitar. And chords, mostly, most guitar teachers, they just teach chords, and then you're expected to sing. And of course, you have heard my singing enough to know that I should not be singing. So I think you still got to learn your chords, because we use chords in the fingerstyle stuff quite often. And in fact, I'm going to play through this one tonight with you, whether you play with it or not, just to give you a sense of where we're headed. Now, let's play the melody. Remember, you can either just have your middle finger play all the twos and your ring finger play all the threes, which is perfectly fine to do it that way, or you can go ahead and grab your A chord, and you'll have to, at a couple of points, you're going to have to lift up that ring finger, and at one point you got to push him forward up to the three, but then the ring finger is going to be busy, and then the ring finger will drop down. Okay, we're going to use that skill tonight on Farmer and the Dell, so it's not bad to go ahead and take a preview of it. Grab your A chord, and then just make sure you're plucking the right string, and then lifting up your ring finger, putting it back down, sliding it forward, or dropping it down onto the first string in the second fret. That's the other place it's going to need to be. From the top, just the melody. You can play with your right hand. You can either just use your thumb, or you can use your plucking fingers. Probably good to work on it both ways, but tonight let's just do, when we're playing together, make it easy, thumb only. 1, 2, 3, 4. To do that is this next level of playing guitar that most guitar players never mess around with. Most of them they got a decent enough singing voice, they learn their chords, they're happy as a clam. But to play any kind of guitar, Carlos Santana, Eddie Van Halen, Robert, what's his name? guy from Zeppelin, or any type of classical, any type of figure style, we got to get the guitar to do the singing, and that's where melody comes in, and that's where reading tablature comes in. Or if you're a tough guy, you want to read the standard notation. Let's see. Sandy says she's playing the baritone ukulele. Playing baritone ukulele has helped with guitar. Absolutely. What I find is playing guitar doesn't necessarily help you with ukulele. There's just enough different. But if you can play ukulele, and especially baritone ukulele, it should really be just easy to drop into guitar. And back in the 50s, that's what they taught in England, was baritone ukulele to the little kids, and then they would graduate into guitar. That was the program. We've never done that in the United States, and it's a mistake because it really, really makes it much easier for little kids to play baritone ukulele and then switch to guitar, and there's nothing new to learn other than your chord shapes are a little bigger. Have a Laughlin parlor guitar with metal strings. Vancouver luthier made it for a small person. Nice. Send me a picture of that, Linda, when you have a chance. I did not know. I don't remember his time, and we may have talked about it, but that's what I wish most people would be able to get their hands on, a parlor guitar. That's even a little bit smaller than the 7/8 size, but not quite a 3/4 size. They're hard to find because these days they are a little more available than they used to be. But back in the day, they used to, not long ago actually, there was sort of this old-fashioned idea that, back in the 1880s, people played parlor guitars because you would play them in the parlor. And I wish that they were just sort of generally more available. And they typically come with metal strings, which is not something I necessarily care one way or the other about. But they do have. Like the early Martin ones made them with nylon strings. They are available, but you usually have to go to a luthier and have them handmade. So, yeah, that's exciting. I don't know if I knew that, Linda. Probably knew it and forgot. Let's talk about the tough acts on here, just so you now in book one, I don't expect people to play the tough acts, but I do want you to be able to read it and know what's going on there. And I always in the early going of book 1 and 2, just recommend just using your thumb down to create this nice big beautiful sound that guitars can do. Watch what's going to happen. I'm going to grab my A chord, and then I'm just reading through the tough acts nice and slow. And of course you guys have ukulele background, so all three of you would be just fine playing it. But if somebody else is wandering along, or if you're teaching somebody, again, I don't really expect them to play the tough acts until we get to row, row, row your boat. At this point, I'm just going to show them what we're going to be playing. Of course, you guys can probably play it with your eyes closed, but just be mindful that of expectations, right? This is pretty hard for a new guitar player to do, and so you want to show them what they're going to be doing. And then after they get good at this, they come back to this and like, why did Gary skip this? And you're like, well, he knew that it was too hard for you at the time, but now you can do it. So from the top, just your thumb down. 1, 2, 3, 4. With the melody, wherever we can squish in the melody, and basically you can look at the paper and you can see, oh, it's really clear. Beat 1 and beat 3, we're adding the chord in, and otherwise we're just playing the melody through there, and it creates a really beautiful program. And obviously, starting new people with thumb down is the way to go. As you're working on it yourself, going back through and playing it finger style with your claw is also something you should work on. Let's play it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. thought process there is played exactly, everything's exactly the same. The only difference is instead of strumming it, I'm plucking it. Plucking it is a much more complex skill than we give it credit for. Most people are pretty comfy with their thumb going down, but when we start switching this, all of a sudden you got to start strategizing about which strings you're using. It can be quite a bit more challenging. Beautiful. Oh, you think it might even be bigger than this one? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Guitar sizes are not standardized. We like to think they are, but they're not. All right. Now let's talk Farmer in the Dell. This is your job for the week. Farmer in the Dell is not as good of a song as the least good song in the book one, but it's got all of the stuff to get you started thinking about playing tough acts and to get you started sort of generally in that direction. First thing, A chord again. You already know that. Okay. And so you don't really need me to sing 10 verses of Farmer in the Dell. The farmer in the dell, the farmer in the dell, hi-ho the dairy-o, the farmer in the dell. Right, that's it. That's the whole song. Then the melody here can all be played in the second fret. So let's do that really quickly with just using your middle finger. Okay, just use your middle finger. 1, 2, or it's a to be counted. 1, 2. That's all this there. Just this two, I started on the wrong note, but you can just play the whole thing with your middle finger. Just get it on the twos or a 0, and that's it. Now, the reason that I like to work on this song in this order is you already know your A chord. You've already gotten comfortable with playing 2s and 3s in Frère Jacques. Now we really can set that A chord up over here, just index, middle, and ring, and then all we're going to have to do is we're going to move up our ring finger up, or we're going to put it down on this first string once, I think. Okay, so from the top, let's just keep that A chord on, and we're going to use our thumb to pick the correct string for right now. So 1, 2. Dive into tough acts until you can play that melody without moving these two fingers. So your index and middle, they stay planted the entire time, and you use your ring finger to get the melody out. So that's first thing you want to work on this week. And then obviously once you've done that, once the melody comes out, then go back through and using your thumb again, just play all the other notes in tough acts. Okay, so let me play it for you. Ready, go. Last time you come around, just give yourself that nice little A chord. So this is not the reason I don't consider this necessarily true finger style is these two fingers are going to stay planted. They're not moving anywhere. So it's still very much of an etude, very much of an instructional song. Next week when we start on Row, Row, Row Your Boat, we're going to use a D chord down here and a D chord way up here. And so the two of them together clear up here, are going to create that finger style idea of using chords and building melody around that chord, and then you're playing finger style. So by the time you get to lesson 4 in this program, you're ready to go. Okay, it's just then a matter of going through the reps and getting really good at it. Okay, so Farmer in the Dell this week. Obviously, send me an email if you're having struggles, but it should be very similar to what you just did on Frère Jacques. I think the other learning opportunity here is you're in 6/8 time, and really we count 6/8 and 2. So the farmer in the dell, plunk. The farmer in the dell, plunk. Hi ho, the dairy ho, the farmer in Dell. So we can't count it in 2, even though it says 6. And there is, the reason it's in 6 is because there's a whole bunch of eighth notes in there that we were singing that we weren't counting as part of the beat. And they call it subdividing. It's very fancy, but that's what you're up to. All right, Farmer in the Dell. There we go. Now, on to book 2. This Old Man. I know, you're thinking, oh, this is my favorite song. Don't say anything negative about it. Farmer in the Dell is my, one of those songs you're like, oh, I wish I didn't have to teach this because I think people want to die when they're working on it. This Old Man is actually kind of fun. All right, so same exact basic idea. Got a guy, and he has some stuff, right? So Farmer in the Dell has cheese, and This Old Man has drums and shoes and knees and doors. Okay, this one is important because it's your first 3-chord song. Okay, so A chord, D chord, E chord, and A chord. And always strategize before when you start a new song. Strategize what all the chords are so you know how to get from one to the other. To get to get to D from A, my middle finger does the lead. Okay, to get from D to E, my index finger is going to lead me back there. To get back to A, I got to drop my ring finger down. Back to E, I'm leading with the index finger, and then A, E, A. And while you are leading with a particular finger, you may or may not necessarily land it first, but you're at least using one finger to sort of guide where the rest of the chord is going to end up shaping around that space. Okay, let's sing. You're dying to sing this song. 1, 2, 3, 4. This old man, he played one. He played knick-knack on my thumb with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give the dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played 2. He played knick-knack on my shoe with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give the dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. Okay. And that's the hard part, right? Bum, bum, bum. And getting that. So whatever speed you can play that at, whatever speed you can play measure 8 at, that is the speed you can play the rest of the song at. So your goal, obviously, sit at home with the, sit in front of the TV watching the crisis of the universes unfold and going A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. And as soon as you can figure out how fast you can do that, that's how fast you can play the rest of the song. All right. Melody, all 2s and 3s, so play that either in second position, probably what I would do, just grab middle and a ring finger and play those from the top. Melody only, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tough acts. Let's see how you do. We'll go quite a bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's actually surprisingly challenging. The one thing I noticed, measure 4, you're an E chord. Your pinky's got to jump in there. Right, so it's a lot of work for that pinky going back and forth. And you don't have a choice because you're really wanting to hold that chord there the whole time. So it's chords ringing out. Better to do, give the pinky a workout than if you are trying to use any other finger where you have to pull it up. Now the chord sound has stopped, and so if you can, use your pinky there and make it happen that way. Nice little piece of music. I actually like it quite a bit, oddly. And again, we're using the 3 chords from book 1. Your basics, if you notice, this is the same exact notes essentially as Frère Jacques, 0s, 2s, and an occasional 3 on that second string. And so they're same notes as Frère Jacques, and it's still in 4/4, but it feels a lot more complex and interesting song just because you have extra chords, and of course you have that very fancy ending on that in measure 8 that takes a little bit of work. So much more complex music using basically the skill set from book 1, and not unimportant as we move forward into life. All right, let's move on to my least favorite song, the entire program, Tom Dooley. The only reason I have this in here is because I get people who know the song, and I don't know, there's something about the melody that's quite striking, and people really are, they enjoy doing the song, so I've left it in here, despite the fact that, why did they write about the murderer? I don't get it. I just don't understand what was going on in 1860. I don't care if the guy's a Civil War hero or not. You don't write about the murderer. So that's my rant about this song. Let's talk about the skill set you're going to be using. You've done the D and A7 before. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and A7. Don't get fancy. Just take these 2 fingers up. Right. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die. That's all you're going to do. So D, A7, D, A7. You've done that quite a bit already in the program, so that should not be a problem. Look at the notes. Same exact set of notes. Some 2s and then some 3s are going to show up on that second string. So let's run through those real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then repeat it 3 times. I think that, again, we're using that same set of notes, and look how handy they're coming in, both in the key of A and in the key of D. You're going to have a lot of crossover between those notes. So work on that a little bit. This one, there's one thing I put on here that I think is worth learning in the tough axe line. If you look at measure 4, you will see there's a 0 on this string, and then there's nothing on the 4th string, and then 0 to 0 on the bottom strings. What that's telling you is you should be playing with this with a plucking motion, because if you're using your thumb, you're going to hit this 5th string, and you're not supposed to, according to the tablature, right? So what that's really telling you is sometimes we're going to skip some strings in the middle of your grasp, and so you're probably going to want to use your claw. Could you use the thumb down? Yes. Are you supposed to? Probably not, according to what it says here. Okay, so so this is a great opportunity to just get focused and use your plucking hand. I haven't mentioned yet, but it's not unimportant. If you play up, let's put a D chord on. If you play with your hand up here above the hole, you get a nice soft sound. Okay? If you play right above the hole, it's still nice, a little bit tighter. If you play below the hole, you're going to get what we call the classical guitar sound. Pretty tight. Got to put a little extra energy into it. And if you play way down by the bridge, you're going to get a super tight sound. And I think, honestly, when I watch top guitar players, they're using all of that to their advantage. Mostly they play here just below the hole. But it's not uncommon to see them coming down here, taking the advantage of the tightness that happens right next to your bridge. And so kind of experiment with that, but know that ideally, especially if you're headed toward classical, playing right below the hole is about about where you should be. My guitar teacher says your index finger right on where the rosette is coming around. That's where your index finger should be. Okay. I think it provides kind of the softness along with the softness of the middle part of the strings with the tightness of the bridge, and it just creates this place where, hey, that probably sounds the best right around there. Let's see. Did you give these a try too, Sandy? Yeah, Sandy, you're coming at this with some pretty advanced knowledge, so I'm glad you did that. Thank God no one's home to hear me to hear you singing. So when the pandemic, I pretty much got away with no singing for many years teaching ukulele, and then the pandemic happened, and I thought, I'm going to be teaching on YouTube. And so nobody needs that. I am trying to get to be a better singer. Let's put it that way. I am not trying very hard, but I am trying. It's like anything, you got to practice it, sort of thing. Don't worry, just just all you say is, boy, I'm a terrible singer, and then sing, right? And then everybody's like, oh, you're a fine singer. Because people are nice. All right, so with Tom Dooley, let's really try to get your claw in here. And let's see how we do. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. I didn't grab the right chord. Let me start from the beginning. I should grab an A7. It'll make everything go much better. I just was busy thinking about Sandy singing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play than I thought. So pay attention to what the chords are telling you, right? The challenge here is at measure 5, it looks like it goes back to D, but it doesn't really. In tough acts, it definitely feels like it's going back to the D chord, so you might want to think about that, make yourself a note. Hey man, it's going to feel like I'm in a D chord, but I'm really still, if you're hanging down there, if you're singing this, hang down your head and cry, hang down your head, Tom Dooley. So you're really an A7, but from a fingerstyle perspective, the melody, it's the same melody as in measure 1, but you're over a different chord, and that's on purpose. That's what you should be doing in the song. So from a fingerstyle perspective, it looks like you're playing D at measure 5 when you're really still hanging out around in A7, and then that resolves very quickly in measure 6, where you're for sure in A7. This one I think is very hard. The middle note in measure 7, you got to add your ring finger, and then somehow get a 3 over to 3. So there's quite a bit of a challenge there. Hopefully that fingerstyle one's like, oh goodness, I got to work hard on this. And I like that, right? So we want to be tough. Just as a FYI, when I redo book 2, I'm going to take out all the arpeggios that I wrote in there. I was so proud I put in arpeggios in so many of these songs. It's not the way I want to teach arpeggios. I don't want you to have to read arpeggios. I want you to be able to play arpeggios from your heart and from just practicing looking at the chords. And so I had a great idea there that I don't think makes sense from a development perspective, that you should be reading arpeggios until you're ready to play arpeggios, and then we would put those in there. All right, so there's Tom Dooley. That's a surprisingly challenging song. I will work on it this week and I will get better. All right, let's go into book 3. And honestly, Sandy, I know that with your background, don't feel like you have to stick with books 1 and 2. You absolutely have the skills to play into book 3, and honestly into the classical and stuff. But I also know that we always have a certain amount of limited time, and so you're like, well, how much time do I really have? And so that's really should play a role too. I'd rather you spend a lot of time on the easier stuff than stretching as far as possible to play the harder stuff. But with your skill set, you've probably even played Jeanie with light brown hair on ukulele, and this is very similar arrangement. All right, let's go from the top. It's a 3-beat count-in. We're going to play it as written, play all the way down to measure 21, come back up to measure 5, and then play down to the bottom, skipping measure 21. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I messed up measure 16 both times. The page turn there is rough, so I'm going to write on myself a note. Bad page turn. All right. Good. Isn't that pretty? Seriously, you can play that as slow as you want. It's going to be great, right? Take your time. Just let it kind of come out of your instrument. And just, nobody these days would even know what that song is except you. And they'd be like, wow, that's really beautiful. You should play that. All right. Let's run over and take a look at Kumbaya. I didn't put it in my book yet, did I? Let's see if I happen to already have it in the book. Kumbaya. Got it for every instrument in the world except this one. So let me go grab it off of the website. Denver Guitar Orchestra. Kumbaya. Share. Fourscore. Patience. There it is. All right. Now, you guys know this from Harmonica. And it's really easy, right? Every single day, every single week. And this is in the key of C. So really, this is what we have not been playing every single week on Monday. And that's the guitar version of this. And so let's dig in. Okay, this will be the week that we finally get it all put together. All of your musical education is coming together this week. We'll take a look at the tough acts. We'll talk our way through it. First two notes are easy, 1 and 0. Play those. Full C chord, pinky up on the 3 of the first string. The 0 is already open, so don't lift anything up. And then the 3, 2 are already down, so don't pick anything up. And then you're going to jump up to fret 5 and put that C shape, or on ukulele it's an F shape, right? 5, 6, 5, 7. Okay, if you read it upside down like you're supposed to, 7, 7, 5, 6, 5, and then hit 4 strings. Okay, so all you're doing is playing an F chord way up the neck, and then you jump down, grab your C chord, and add your pinky again. You're already holding stuff down. Get that? Okay, then 1, 0. Get a cool thing here. You're going to go to E minor, so leave your middle finger planted, grab your index finger, and put your pinky back down on the first string, 3rd fret. That 0 is open, and these are already down. And now you lift everybody up to get the 1. G chord, 3 on the 2nd string. Just a little arpeggio of everything that's already being held down. Now we'll go back to the same idea as the beginning. C chord, pinky on 3. The 0 is already open, and the 3 and 2 are already open. Jump up to the 5, C shape in front. C chord with the pinky. Lose the pinky, C chord, rest stroke so your thumb just hangs out on the first string. Okay, now you have a normal F chord here, that's your E shape, move it up, add the bar on 1. Okay, good chance yours are going to sound like this, right? That's okay, it'll go away, a couple of years from now. Right now, just that's your F chord, but you're going for it. And if you think about it, I'm holding on an F chord, and in the beginning, you just feel lucky you get your fingers sort of close to the right strings on the sort of the right frets. That should be it. That in and of itself is a victory. But the difference between an F chord and a real F chord is just my thumb attack, right? And even there, if I could take my thumb completely off, I should be able to do it by just pressing with this arm here and the weight of my hand. Okay? But honestly, you're going to be thinking about it as just getting your thumb cleaner. Okay, that's that F chord, and then back to your C chord. Add your pinky finger on the 2nd string. Go grab those 2 3s. Then the 3 and the 2 already down. Okay, that's the transition note from the C back up to the G. And then the C chord to wrap it up. Ding, bong, and I got a fermato over that note. Bong. And then look up at your audience, make sure they're with you, and then. If you play it at 60, it will still sound fine. It'll sound beautiful. So, yeah. Linda says the chords in Jeanie don't help. Part of the reason that they're not as helpful, Linda and Jeanie, is that I didn't arrange it with full-blown chords, because that I used. Teach Jeanie pretty early into book 3. These days it just happens more in the middle. So I think I'm probably going to go back and take a look at Jeanie one of these days and put in a little bit more full chording in it. That's why those chords are not super duper helpful in that song. I was hoping to just slide right down by and not talk about that. But you're right. The chords in that in Jeanie are maybe or maybe not so great. And it just needs me to flesh out the full arrangement there. You can do that yourself as well. Be thinking about, if I'm holding the chord, what other notes can I fit in underneath the melody? Kumbaya here, it's C, F, and G. These are hard chords, all of them. And the only easy chord is E minor, right? That's the only place you get a little bit of a break. The rest of these chords in this one are really hard and really necessary. They're going to be chords that come up a lot. So on harmonica, this is our sort of, one of our day one songs. But on guitar, you're in book 3, significantly into book 3, and using 3 really, really challenging chords to turn this into something. You're going to have to get comfy with getting this chord shape for sure. What am I doing wrong? That chord is going to be like, that's not an easy chord by anybody's standards. And that's essential to get here. Then you've got this hard chord. You've got this hard chord. So you got a lot of really, really challenging stuff, and there's no way to pull this song off correctly without grabbing those full chords each time. And so feel like, yeah, Jeanie was one we can kind of slide by, not maybe doing all the chords, but on this one, yeah, you really, and take your time with this one. Don't be in a rush. When we play it next week, I won't be in a rush either, because you know how it is. I'm going to be playing, I'm going to be warming up, an hour before class, playing this through as fast as I can, and then when we get to class, I'll be like, okay, guys, this is a hard song. I'm going to play it slow, and you should feel fine playing it slow. It's Kumbaya, and you can play at whatever speed you want, right? All right, beautiful. Good luck on that one next week. That was a toughie. All right. All right, so if you're just doing fingerstyle and you're not interested in classical music, you're done. You should stick with me through classical music, just because the skill set we use in classical music is much more this stuff, and that stuff's going to end up showing up in your fingerstyle anyway, so it's actually kind of helpful. All right, let's see how many of these songs we got. 12 minutes. Let's see how many of these songs we can knock out. So let's go grab Autumn Waltz. Set list. Classical. Here we go. Autumn Waltz. Isn't it exciting? You guys have played through the whole entire book 0, and now you're going to go back and review it before we head off into book 1. Probably going to get through as many of these as we can over the next few weeks. I'm shooting for maybe the end of summer to move on to book 1. I will talk not. I will talk less and go. I did add what I called a fancy guitar line, which includes some bringing in the chords into the melody, but that's not really what you. That's not really what you should be playing. You should be playing tough acts or guitar solo, depending on if you read the standard notation or the tab. Okay, from the top, 3-beat count in, 1-beat rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. So I messed up a couple spots, but you got the idea, right? So just very briefly, beautiful melody, really, really nice piece of music. But I went ahead on the fancy guitar, turned it into a fingerstyle piece. So let me just give you a little hint of what that would look like. In your thumb, playing in these great big chords to add in underneath the melody, and you can do that with most classical music. Is you take what's there and then add in some chords like God intends on the guitar, and you end up with a pretty nice piece of music. So just added that on for fancy. You don't have to do it. It's not part of the program, but it is kind of fun to do. Same thing with exercise 13, which is our next song. You want to be able to play the tough axe line or the guitar solo line. They're identical. They're the same thing. But if you want to, have a little bit of fun, if you want to make it sound cool, fancy guitar will be where you're happening. Okay, from the top, exercise 13, 1, 2. Barriero, very filled with drama. Just this little 8 measure thing, really nice. I love that. Okay, so both of those are worth playing. All right, next song, Danse des Îles, Dance of the Islands, I think. I don't know. Another modern song, Florian Lambert, and this one, I don't necessarily think the chord shapes are going to help you out all that much. I think stay focused. That's why I didn't put on a fancy guitar line on here. I think that what's here works just fine. From the top, remember we play all the way down to 24 and then come back and play 1 through 8. I want you to stop after beat 1 of measure 8. In the original sheet music, it says to play those next two notes, but it's stupid. They sound dumb. The song should end on the first beat of measure 8. Here we go. Saith I. 1, 2, 3. Those last two blomps on there. This could blompy enough. Isn't that a pretty little melody? I like that one. Okay. Dance to the Zeal. Exercise on the E string. I hate this song. I was working on it today. I was like, this is not for me. All right, 1850s is when this was probably put together. First exercise, I think part of it is it's called First Exercise on the E string. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. How about just make some music? Why not do exercises? From the top, 4-beat countdown. 1, 2, and again, chord shape's not helpful here at all. Just play the notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Gary, let's start again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and put that on the things that are hard to play that aren't worth the payoff list. It's fine, but there's nothing. I think the reason it's in the book probably is to get you used to playing the melody on the lower strings, and so there's something to be said for that. But really, it just feels like this incredibly difficult song that there's nothing there, and so yeah, there's First Exercise on the E string. Moving on. Let's go grab Dutch Dance. Okay. And you'll notice it's interesting in classical guitar how many often songs are 30 seconds long, 45 seconds long, even more advanced material, 2 minutes long. They're not asking you to do 45 minutes of guitar music until you're way, way, way down the road in guitar, which I think is a bit of a relief compared to piano, which I always felt like we were playing super long songs. Dutch Dance, this is a lovely piece of music. Chord shapes might actually help you out on this one. Okay, maybe not. Who knows? 1, 2, 3. week I want to play it again. I just made too many mistakes. From the top, 1, 2, 3. Still made a couple of mistakes, but isn't that nice? That's a lovely little song. 1560s, okay? Dutch dance. You know how the Dutch are. This is how they dance. No, nice. All right, and then we got through the 6th song. This is it. This is our. So we'll probably do about 6 songs each week, 5, 6, depending on what we get, how the time goes with the other stuff. So I'll post the next group on page 1. If you don't have access to the classical page, you need it, and so just send me a email if you don't have the password, and I'll make sure you get it. All right, here's our grand finale for the night, Contentment. I hated this song when we did it at first, and I've come to begrudgingly accept it as a lovely piece of contemporary music. The one thing I will quibble with, I've left it in just because it is in the original. I double checked 7 times, but the E note in the middle of measure 8 just feels so clunky. It feels way weird, and I hate it. But I've left it there because that's what the original composer wanted, and said we'll leave it there. But yeah, I don't like it. Want to use your pinky on these 4s for sure. Okay, nice and expressively, he says. And 116, we won't play it quite that fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play it one more time because I went too fast at measure 7, and let's see if we can clean that up. I think it's nice in the sense that instead of that note, which I hit once, right, you're playing the G sharp in this one, and so it sounds up against the A's, it sounds like this note that doesn't really belong, but it is sort of contentful, right? It feels kind of nice. From the top, expressively, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's Contentment. So we got through 6 of those songs. We'll probably plan on each week doing that. We're playing them just like that. Not really talking about them, just getting them done. I am when we were first doing them, I know a whole bunch of stuff I didn't like, and now that we've done lots more other stuff I didn't like, now I like these ones. And so that's kind of how music works, right? You hate it while you're working on it, and if you don't hate it, you're probably not working on it hard enough. And then all of a sudden down the road, you're like, oh, I remember doing that. I like that song. And so we have to revisit stuff to remember that things weren't quite so as bad as we were making it at the time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. The only one I really don't like is First Exercise on the E string, but Johann Kaspar Mertz was, he's a hack. So the rest of the stuff is pretty nice. There we go. Hopefully you're having fun playing guitar. It's pretty hard, and hopefully you don't quit. You just keep at it. You keep going, and all of a sudden, you're going to get really, really good. Have a wonderful evening. I hope you're doing great, and I will see all y'all. Well, tomorrow for harmonica, Friday for ukulele. Nothing on this the weekends. Monday is ukulele again, and then Tuesday guitar orchestra. So that's the schedule for the week. Nice classical songs. Yeah, they are nice, right? Don't play them fast. Play all of them nice and slow. Don't pay attention to the quarter note equals whatever tempo markings. You play all of those at your speed, and I think they'll be nice for you. All right, guys. Have a lovely evening. Talk to you soon. Peace.